What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And today's topic is my top 25 Christmas movies of all time. This is a submission for Tim Talks Talkies. He's doing another community list. If you're familiar with Tim, he did a top 25 horror movies list where he asked us to submit all of our top 25 horror movies of all time, and he compiled the list and see which ones came out on top. He's doing the same for Christmas. Matter of fact, he's going to be on a live stream tonight as I'm recording this. Hopefully, I'll get it out today. And let's just get to what my top 25 are, and then we'll see how it compares to his when I'll be on the stream with him tonight. All right, so number 25, I'm going to start off with a horror flick, and this one is Santa's Sleigh. That is the wrestler Bill Goldberg in the role. Santa is, according to this movie, he's been evil the whole time. He's just been bound to be good for 1,000 years, and that 1,000 years is up. So he's about to cause some mayhem. At number 24, I have a movie called Almost Christmas. Not a lot of people will have this on their top list. I do on mine. It's just a really fun movie. It's about family. And this one, the family's actually getting back together for a while, and the patriarch of the family is Danny Glover, and he just wants everybody to get along for this whole holiday season. They're gonna be there for 5 days together, and everybody has their own thing going on, and they all have their own issues with each other. So, and we get to watch that all play out. Number 23 is definitely a different type of Christmas movie. That is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Is set around the Christmas season. We got Robert Downey Jr. This is the movie that really catapulted him back into being a serious actor. He has lots of personal issues, and so this was like right before Iron Man, and then of course once he got Iron Man, he took off. But yeah, this was a really good movie. Him and Val Kilmer, they're private detectives out trying to solve a crime, and it is definitely Christmas time. Number 22 is another crime movie, and this one is The Ice Harvest. Again, not one that a lot of people have on their list. At least I don't think so. This is John Cusack, Billy Bob Thornton, and that is Connie Nielsen on the cover with them. And Billy Bob and John Cusack, they have robbed some mob bosses in their town, and it is right around Christmas time. As a matter of fact, I think it's Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. The problem is they can't get out of town because there is a severe ice storm, and guess what? All the bad guys are definitely trying to figure out who robbed them, and then they're looking for them. So this is a really fun movie in that. Number 20 is Krampus. So I hear a lot about this movie as far as some people love it, some people hate it. I really love the movie. It is not as scary as you would think, judging from the cover, and it's definitely labeled a horror movie. But for me, it's really more of a dark comedy, and so that's where I approach it as. I'm not looking for it to really be a real horror, scary type of movie, and it works. I really like Krampus. Really enjoy that one. Number 19 is The Best Man Holiday. So this is a sequel to The Best Man, which actually came out like 15 years before, 14 or 15 years before it, and it was not a holiday movie, not a Christmas movie at all. This one, the gang is all back together during Christmas time, and all the old issues are coming back up, so it's not quite resolved from the first movie. And then there are a few other things thrown in. Just a fair warning though, if you do decide to watch The Best Man Holiday, it's one of the more sadder or bittersweet holiday movies out there. Number 18 is a movie I don't actually have, so I'll just go ahead and put a picture up of it. And that is Silent Night, Deadly Night, another horror flick. And yeah, it's lots of fun. It's not one that I would call necessarily a good movie, but it is really fun. And this sequel is not as good. There's like five of them out there. But I've only seen the first two. But the first one is a holiday horror classic, so I'll leave it at that. Number 17 was our first Sylvester Stallone appearance on the list, and that is Rocky Four. This is the whole collection. I don't have the Rocky movies individually, but yeah, Rocky Four is my pick here, and the the finale of the movie, Rocky fighting Drago, that takes place on Christmas Day. It's in Russia, and get to see all kind of Christmas stuff going on, and of course he brings down or ends the Cold War. So you gotta have Rocky Four on the list. Number 16 is In Bruges. So if you notice, there's not a lot of just straightforward Christmassy type movies on my list, and this is another crime movie. Colin Farrell, and he's a hitman, and he's out on a job, and he's working with, and I'm drawing a blank. Brendan Gleeson, who was also great in the movie, both him and Colin Farrell. And something goes terribly wrong, and they reach out to their handler, and their handler tells them, "Hey, go to Bruges, and you'll just hide out there until we get this whole thing figured out." And yes, it is Christmas time when they're hiding out, so they run into all kinds of colorful characters out there, and all sorts of Christmas events happening. So In Bruges takes my 16th spot. Number 15 is First Blood, the first of the Rambo movies, and definitely the most serious and still the best as far as I'm concerned. He plays Sylvester Stallone. This is his next sighting on the list, by the way, of course. He plays John Rambo, and he's a Vietnam vet. He's home for the holidays, and he's in this little town, and things go sideways really fast. I'll leave it at that. It's just amazing though. If you watch this movie, you watch the rest of the franchise. This is almost like watching two different characters. This is he's an actual real person, and by the time we get to the last Rambo movie, he's a superhero, and I like those movies too. But this one is definitely the best, most mature movie of the bunch. Number 14 is a movie I grew up with. It's a hip hop classic, hood classic, as my man KB would say, and everybody I know would say. But this is Beat Street, and Beat Street is about basically this group of friends. It's the 80s, so they're immersed in the growing hip hop culture. We got my man here. He's a break dancer, and we got a DJ back here. We got some graffiti artists. Is what it's really about. And we just basically watched them. He's definitely in New York. It's Christmas season, and it's an iconic Christmas scene where they're at a club, and Kool Moe Dee and Treacherous 3, they come out and they do a Christmas rap, Jingle Jangle. It's amazing. So Beat Street, it always has a soft spot in my heart. One of the best hip hop movies out there. If you've never seen it, go ahead and check it out. Number 13 gets brought up a lot in debates over whether or not it's actually a Christmas movie. It is, in my opinion, obviously, because I have it here, and that movie is the first Lethal Weapon, like the Rocky movies, like the Rambo movies. I don't have them individually, so suffice it to show this. That is the first Lethal Weapon. Definitely takes place at Christmas, and a lot of Christmas themes running throughout, especially with Mel Gibson's character. He's dealing with depression. Of course, depression hits a lot of people hard during the holidays, and this movie goes through that also. So yeah, Lethal Weapon is a fantastic action movie, one of the earliest buddy cop movies, and my number 13 Christmas movie. Number 12 is another movie I grew up with, and that's Gremlins. Of course, we got Gizmo here on the cover of the Steelbook, and he is a Christmas gift for the main character, and I'm totally drawing a blank on the main character's name right now, but he is a Christmas gift for the main character. And you know how things go in Gremlins. If you don't know how things go, just watch Gremlins this holiday season. So you got a few more days. Check it out. Number 11 is another movie that people don't really call a Christmas movie, don't consider it a Christmas movie, but it takes place at Christmas time, and that is American Psycho. And Christian Bale, for me, this is his best performance, and I know he's known for the Batman movies, and for me, this is his best performance. And like Krampus, this is really more dark comedy than horror, though people definitely tend to see it as a horror movie. It's more satire and dark comedy. Definitely takes place during Christmas time. So check this one out if you're looking for something a bit twisted. And then you tell me if it's all in his head or if he really is an American Psycho. Now we're getting into my top 10. And to kick that off is another movie that, of course, I grew up with. What better time to talk about movies you grew up with than Christmas time? And this one is one of Eddie Murphy's earliest movies. He co-stars with Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, and that's Trading Places. And if you're not sure about how this is a Christmas movie, we get the scene where Dan Aykroyd shows up as a drunken Santa, and then the finale of the film, it takes place is like going into New Year's, and they're on the train, and of course, again, Aykroyd dressed up as Santa. It's just a really really fun movie. There's some iffy things about that last scene with Dan Aykroyd's character, but overall, it's one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies. Definitely one of my favorite Dan Aykroyd movies because there's not a lot that I really love, but this is one of them. So yeah, check out Trading Places if you haven't seen it. Number nine, we got another action flick, and this one is The Long Kiss Goodnight. Gina Davis is the star here, and it is one of my favorite action movies of all time. She is just a regular housewife, but she doesn't really remember anything past the last, I think, 5 years, maybe 10. It's been a while since I watched it. And then her memory starts coming back, and she remembers that she is a super secret agent. And of course, right around that same time, people are showing up trying to kill her. Samuel L. Jackson is here. He's the private detective she had hired to try to help her figure out her past, and then all that past just comes bubbling up. So yeah, this is a crazy fun movie, and one of the biggest action scenes includes her basically sliding down the side of a building holding on to a string of Christmas lights, or sliding up, I should say. And if you haven't seen the trailer, then just at least check out the trailer for that part. But it's a great action flick. Number eight is the most Christmassy superhero movie of all time, as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of people will bring up Iron Man 3. Some people will bring up Shazam. I really like Shazam, not so much Iron Man 3, but I really love Batman Returns. This is just a wonderfully weird movie. I tell people all the time the 1989 Batman was a better Batman movie, but Batman Returns is a better Tim Burton movie. Even though he directed both movies, he had more creative control over here, and it shows. It's just a definitely quirky, weird kind of movie. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman is amazing. And yeah, everything happens at Christmas time. Gotham is all decked out with trees and snow and celebrations. So it's definitely a Christmassy superhero flick. Number seven is another movie I don't own, and I don't know why I own it. It's How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 2000, the one that stars Jim Carrey, the live action version. I do love the animated version, but it kind of just missed the cut, and I didn't want to put both versions on the list, so though it probably really could have been. But the one with Jim Carrey, it's definitely a really dark comedy, and if you can't tell, I like dark comedies. He's really dark comedy slash horror-ish version of the Grinch, and he is amazing in the role. I'm gonna have to go ahead and grab it. It's one of those where it goes on sale every year, and every year I'm like, okay, I'll get it soon. I'll get it soon, and then I don't get it. So I got to get that. So hopefully by next year I'll actually have it in my collection. Number six is one of my favorite Will Ferrell movies, and that's Elf. We got Buddy the Elf. As you can see, he's actually a human who grew up in the North Pole as an elf, and then tries to make his way back to New York City to find his father. And if you haven't seen Elf, just pop it in. It's definitely one that fits the mold of Christmassy movies, and it's just hilarious from start to finish as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of hilarious, my number five is Bad Santa. So this is a little bit more my speed, which is why it's a little bit higher than Elf, and that's because it's a more cynical sort, more raunchy humor with Billy Bob Thornton again. And I just realized that this is two Billy Bob Thornton appearances on the list here, with the Ice Harvest being the other one. Bernie Mac is great in the movie. Tony Cox is amazing as the sidekick, more or less, or the partner with Bad Santa here, as they perform a heist every year around Christmas time at different places around the country. And we focus on this one. So check out Bad Santa if you're into a raunchy comedy and don't mind Santa just being he's not a good guy at all. So, but I had a good time watching it. Number four is the king of this debate of whether or not it's a Christmas movie, and that is Bruce Willis in the first Die Hard. Of course, it's a Christmas movie. I'm not even going to go into why. We all know. Just check it out. It's a movie that, more than just being a Christmas movie, though, it changed action cinema, and a lot of people have talked about that. And Tim talked about it when we were on a stream last week with Bob's Blu-rays. And yeah, he'll probably talk about it more. And so I'm going to leave it at that. But Die Hard 2 could have probably been on the list too, but again, I like with The Grinch, and even I didn't want to have multiple movies from the same franchise, so I just went with the original. My number three is another Christmas classic, of course, and that's this one right here, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We go hang out with the Griswold family during Christmas time, and all their relatives coming over to hang out. And yeah, I did not get the fancy 4K of it, at least not yet. But this movie, I saw it back in theaters back actually when it came out, and I laughed from start to finish. And I've watched it a lot of times since, and I laugh from start to finish every single time. Number two is kind of a surprise for most people. It seems to a lot of people like it, but it's not high up on their list. But for me, it is high up on the list. Critics hate this movie, but I love it, and that is the Last Friday movie, Friday After Next. It is starts off with a guy dressed up as Santa robbing our main characters, Craig and Day Day, Ice Cube and Mike Epps, and the movie goes from there. We throw a Christmas themed rent party, and this is Terry Crews shows up in the movie, one of his best roles. I just have a blast with this one. It's a family favorite. We watch it almost every year. We'll probably watch it over the next few days since it is almost Christmas time again. So this one takes my number two spot. If you know me and know about my movie viewing habits at all, there's no doubt of what my number one Christmas movie of all time would be. It's a movie I did grow up with, and I've seen it probably 50 times. I haven't watched it yet this year, but I've got another week before Christmas. I'm definitely going to get that in there, and I'll probably watch the sequel of it. They just made a sequel, another sequel. They've done it before. Those haven't gone so good, but the original's always my favorite, and that is A Christmas Story. I watch this movie and can practically quote every word of it. My daughter usually watches it with me. One of my daughters. My other daughter is kind of tired of it by now, and my wife might be kind of tired of it by now, but not me. Christmas Story is a classic. In my opinion, the best Christmas movie ever made. So guys, that's my list. According to me, those are the top 25 Christmas movies ever made, but that is not the definitive list. Of course, whatever your top 25 Christmas movies are it for you. And I would love to hear those lists or see those lists. Go ahead and put them down in the comments. Hopefully you submitted to Tim for his list, the community list, and that will give us a better idea of what the community really thinks about Christmas movies. If you're interested in that kind of content, I will put a link up over here to my top 25 horror movies of all time that we did a few weeks back. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and let's talk about movies, guys. That's all I have for you on this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.